Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we've got a guide coming today, and actually like one of the best epics that has been launched for a while. And there's been a ton of good epics launched recently. So for me, this guy could be your unsung hero if you get him. Aox the Rememberer. Kind of crazy kit on this guy. He's got a poison A1, which is cool. So it's like a 10% chance. You've really got to book this up if you want to run him as your poisoner. And I'm mainly thinking here clan boss or dragon. But for both of those areas, clan boss and dragon, if you get booked into his A1, get him to 30% chance to land a poison per hit, and he hits twice, then there's a good chance per turn you're going to be landing one poison. Yeah, it especially works better if you've got a counter attacker in your team or an ally attacker in your team, just to give yourself a chance to get these poisons out. But I will say, he doesn't have enough poison with this ability to be your only poisoner in a team. So he tends to come in as a secondary poisoner and utility man. But his utility is strong. So A2 here heals all allies by 10% of their max HP. Their max HP, that's important to know, not his. So everyone gets a 10% heal. You get an extra 2.5% for every debuff on a target. So if you think yourself about Clan Boss, where you might have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more debuffs, they're actually going to heal for about a third of their health at full capacity here. So it's a huge heal. It's a huge heal for a 3-turn cooldown. But again, the challenge with this is he probably can't be your only healer. Because a third of your health, when you get towards the end of like a clan boss fight, that's not enough. Maybe on something like Dragon, if you just want someone to top you up through the waves and to top you up on the boss as you're fighting, this works. But on something like clan boss, it's not enough. And then at the end here, the A3, we've got a decrease attack ability. Goes on for 2 turns. If you book it, it's a 3-turn cooldown. Again, I would say if you can get this booked, it's awesome. So places a decreased attack, so he can't take a weak hit with this. He's not hitting with this ability. He's just putting the skill on. So for a negative affinity clan boss run, this goes on no matter what affinity you're facing. Really cool. Also places a 75% decrease. Sorry, also a chance booked out to 100% of decreasing the enemy's turn meter by 20%. That's cool. Cool for the arena. So in the arena, you've got here a decreased attack, a decreased turn meter, and a decreased crit rate for 2 turns if they still have some more turn meter on them. So this A3 is really good. Ice Golem is awesome. For Arena, it's very cool. The decreased attack on its own is very good for Clan Boss because it's on a 2-turn cooldown. You only need this to go on for the hits which are AoE hits, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. So he can be your decreased attack champion for Clan Boss, which is cool. Really good for Faction Wars, this ability. It's just like, for Lizardman particularly, this guy is top notch, top draw. So much in his kit, and this skill is a lot of it. He's then got this passive as well. So increases the duration of 2 random debuffs on the attacker for 1 turn for every hit that he takes. Now on Affinity Clan Boss, you get hit multiple times. So actually, you're going to be increasing the duration of debuffs multiple times each time you take a hit. It's not as crazy as perhaps Bulwark, who improves all of the debuffs, but it's not a percentage chance to do it either. It's definitely going to happen. So maybe it's on a par with Bulwark, but it just works in a different way. It's a bit more RNG as to which debuffs get extended. But I tell you now, this guy is awesome. Really good epic. It's got a Doom Tower aura as well for accuracy, which a lot of you will need. If you go into hard Doom Tower, very quickly their resistance on these waves becomes harder and harder to beat. And you know what? I feel like he's just an all-rounder. I feel like he can go into any team. Arena, this works. Clan Boss, especially good. Ice Golem, especially good. Dragon, especially good. So even something like Spider, you've still got this turn meter drop chance, decrease attack for the Spiderlings, a heal, and a bit of poison's okay. It's not the best, but it feels like even Spider, he's got a decent chance to sort of come into teams, even as potentially your off-affinity tank. You know, you've got a decrease attack and turn meter. It's definitely going to happen. Doesn't matter if you're the wrong affinity. The heal is definitely going to happen anyway. It's not ideal if he's the healer and he's the damage soaker, but it's not terrible either. So I feel like he could play almost anywhere in the game. Finite, he gets a double hit on his A1. It's not the best for Finite, to be honest. Probably is like his weakest spot. But again, it's still not terrible. So in terms of Masteries, what have I done then? Let's get rid of me for a second. I have gone for a kind of standard clan boss style set of Masteries. Now, this guy does not hit hard. So we've gone for as much utility as possible. You probably could play around with the support tree a little bit, but I've gone for accuracy, accuracy, accuracy. I've gone for increase. This ability is no good to me at all, Shield Bearer, but I wanted to get Healing Savior. So we increased the healing value by 10% if this target ally has 40% or less. So it's more like a kind of spiky heal if you're going down. I think it's really important to take Sniper to get the extra 5% chance to land your poison, and Master Hexer again for that chance to land your poison for longer. But yeah, I think there's a number of ways you could go. This is the way I've gone, but I think it'll be pretty good on him. In terms of gearing, let me just show you something on the site quickly. So champion lookup, Aox. If you guys, any member to the site, hellhades.com, if you go into this champion lookup, you can just find the multipliers of any champions in the game. So Aox the Rememberer, it's always worth doing this if you're building a champion out to decide how you're going to build them. So he's got an average hit on his A1 and on his A2. Basically means he's not going to be doing a ton of damage. The way this is kind of banded is weak, average, strong, godlike. So even if you stacked him with crit damage, he is not going to hit very hard, which means that it's not worth doing. So what you then want to make sure you're doing is building him to be tanky, fast, or the right speed, and get his accuracy up to the level you need it to beat the content you're doing. So I've literally just thrown on some pretty random gear. Defense on the gloves, defense on the chest, defense on the boots. Picked up speed in substats across the board. And I've gone defense, defense, accuracy. So I tried to bring the gear level down a touch because we're going to be running Nightmare Clan Boss. And that's, I feel like he can run Ultra Nightmare for sure, but I feel like the people that are probably going to be using him might be kind of on that cusp of Nightmare, Ultra Nightmare. So we're going to be running him alongside Ragnar for our decreased defense and weaken. And he, again, we're just kind of gone similar sort of level here. Good defense, good speed, enough accuracy to land his debuffs. We're going to be running him alongside another off poisoner healer. So Still Skull and Aox together. I want to see if these two can top up a poison bar with similar A1 skills. Similar chance to land their poisons. And they both got healing mechanics. So I want to see what these two can do together. We've then got a counter attacker in Skull Crusher. He is just high defense, the right level of speed. And then as the fifth person, we're going to bring in Doom Priest. Doom Priest for the clan boss really is just there for the cleanse. So she's fastest in the team. She needs to be less than 189, but more than more than everybody else. Everyone else is running between 171 and 189. She needs to be the fastest so that when the stun hits, she gets a cleanse off straight away. That basically means that you can take on any affinity clan boss team and she always cleanse everything off, all of it. So we're going to run in here now. Let's get the Goon Squad together. Ragnar, Aox, Skull Crusher. So we've got the two poisoners. Doom Priest I missed. Okay, doesn't really matter who goes in the front because they're going to be cleansed anyway. You basically want to put the person that you got with the highest base defense or the highest overall defense as your stun target if there's no aura that you want to use. The cool thing here is I can just go full auto. Let's just make sure on full auto he does do his decrease attack first. Yes, he does. Good stuff. So if he's doing his decrease attack first, it means you're always going to have decrease attack on for the AoE hits, which is where he brings you the value. So as long as you've got the AoE hits with a decreased attack on, you won't take the high level of damage that you would take from, say, the slam. The slam doesn't matter if you've got decreased attack on or not. You can see some of the debuffs are already starting to kind of stack up a little bit. And if this was an affinity clan boss right now, they would stack up quicker than they are. So that's actually pretty cool. Doesn't matter that decreased attacks are not on. Doesn't affect this damage at all. We're going to get the cleanse off here. There it is. Everyone's getting their buffs up. Decreased attack goes back on. And we're keeping a pretty full debuff bar the whole time. And obviously, the more debuffs we got up, the more his A2 heal will do as we get later into the fight. So he's not doing it right now because nobody needs it. But again, we're keeping that decreased attack on whenever we need. Poisons are raining in. And both of these guys have got like an average chance to lay that poison, basically. You know, 30 to 35% chance. You'd hope you land at least a poison a hit, but it doesn't always work. There's that cleanse. Beautiful. There's our decreased attack. So I think he is absolutely top draw for this fight. I think he's one of the best off poisoners in the game, especially if he's bringing you a decreased attack at the same time, as consistently as he's doing it here. So I'm going to get us through perhaps to around turn 20, 25 and see how impactful his heal is at that point. Okay, we're on to turn 22, which is awesome, by the way. And this guy is more consistent at giving us decreased attack on the clan boss than Tyrell, than Sepulchre, than Jareg, than probably Altan, which is awesome. A lot of times when I'm building out teams for people, the biggest challenge is that decreased attack is in danger of falling off. With this guy, I've never seen it literally close to being in danger of falling off. It comes off at the end of the rotation, but he just pops it straight back on again. There's no chance to hit, anything like that. It just goes on. And it goes on exactly when you need it to. So I'm actually super impressed with this guy. One of the best decreased attack champions in the game, who just happens to have a heal and poison as well. Really cool. So we're going to see is, let's just let this rotate round and I'll show you. There's his heal. So 11.5k heal on our Skull Crusher. So the heal's more like a top up. And I'm not running, I think I'm running Lifesteal just on Skull Crusher here, no one else. And he is just keeping that up all the time. So he's helping with the other off healers, Doom Priest and Steel Skull. So all of them are kind of the same off heal role. They're keeping that debuff up all the the buff and health bars up all the time. So we're going to rock in here. Typically, as I said, I've not seen him do anything, not seen him miss. He actually got resisted. There's always a 3% chance you're going to get resisted on a skill. We got resisted just as I'm recording, which is, I guess, you know what? It's the reality of what happens in Clan Boss. It's why you tend to want to run with a backup, but that's impossible to account for. I guess if you're going to try and deal with that, that means you've just got to bring 2 decreased attack champions in. That's the long and short of it. You know, someone like a rearguard or someone like a grizzled Jarl who actually does it as their off skill, basically. But yeah, 6.2 million, all through poison damage, basically, versus a 4.6 million Steel Skull. So he's out damaging Steel Skull. He's bringing more utility to Steel Skull. He's got a good amount of healing here, 640k, a bit less than Steel Skull, a bit less than Doom Priest. But for me, top draw Clan Boss champion, we just got a 2-key Nightmare, and all I've done is literally looked through the jumble sale and pulled out bits of gear for everyone that was lying around. I've not geared these champions crazy. Literally, it's stuff that is lying about. So there you go, really good Clan Boss champion. Let's get him into some other content. So because we're going into other content, I've changed his build a bit here. I've just pulled up more accuracy and more speed. I want him to be faster than a lot of my champions so that he's laying his decreased attack nice and early, and he's dropping the turn meter of the enemy nice and early with this A3 skill. I need the extra accuracy to land his skills in dungeons. So let's start off with... I think we're going to start with Ice Golem, actually. Ice Golem, I think, is probably his best spot in terms of dungeons. Ice Golem or maybe Dragon. So he's going to come into this team as our decrease attack champion. So I don't need a decrease attack and defense here from Duke, even though he's amazing, by the way. We just want to drop defense champ. So let's bring in a Tyrell. Maybe we just go, yeah, go Tyrell. Sure he's got some gear on. Yep. And then we're going to bring in the new fella, Aox. Okay, so we've got two kind of healer champions, a drop defense, a drop attack, a block buffs, speed. So let's see how we get on here. This isn't a quick run setup, by the way. This is just kind of showing you utility, but let's slow it down a sec. Drop defense goes on. We place the drop attack, the drop crit rate, and we drop their turn meter with that A3. What a skill that is on a free turn cooldown, guys. It's literally great. It's such a great skill to get you more time into the fight. So we should cycle around, hopefully, to our big abilities for the next wave as well, if this times nicely. We're going to kill one. Got one left to kill. Don't use all your big abilities, guys. Use your brain. Use your brain, Tyrell. Oh. Tyrell's let us all down. Tyrell has let us all down there. Still, we're on to wave 2. We're going to come in with our drop turn meter there. We drop turn meter, attack, and crit rate. Dropping crit rate, by the way, probably people look at it and frown upon it. It's a crazy good ability, especially in the arena. Everybody you face in the arena that's going to deal damage is going to be built to... I mean, if you're doing my sort of builds, like 99% crit rate, but most people will build to 100. And that is... it's giving you a chance, basically, to not always be facing a nuke. So I'm going to spin us onto the boss. We're not getting any shrieks out because Norog is dealing with that for us. Let's get to the boss. Okay, boss part of the fight. So we just got a decrease attack out and decrease crit. Nice and early. We dropped a bit of turn meter as well. And think about how hard this boss hits for. Decrease attack is actually the most important debuff on this boss. More important than decrease defense. Decrease defense will make you do the run faster. Decrease attack means you can actually take these hits. For the adds, decrease attack and decrease crit rate doesn't actually do anything really. They don't hit. They just place debuffs on you. Well, actually, sometimes they hit. But yeah, it's not as big a deal. But on the actual boss, it's huge. So everything he's doing here is kind of nice. When you get to the actual boss part and he's using his poison, poison's one of the abilities that doesn't trigger the retribution hit. So if you can get a few poisons going on, it's actually really strong. He's also keeping our guys topped up with health. Yeah, he's literally top draw here. Top draw. World class. So I'm not going to make you watch the whole run, but you can see kind of all of the different utility he's bringing to this team. Keeping everyone topped up. Keeping the hits coming at us a bit weaker. Every time we do get a hit, he's also extending the amount of turns that these debuffs are on for. Just brilliant. Brilliant champ. All right, let's move on to Dragon. So here we go, on to Dragon. We're going to run this team here, which is kind of like speed, drop defense, drop attack and crit, and turn meter, and poison. Loads going on. He's a positive affinity here, so he's going to get his poisons out pretty comfortably and get some strong hits in. And all he's going to be doing, if we just slow it down, on the wave, decrease turn meter, decrease attack, decrease crit rate, all great abilities for wave control. So it gives our damage dealers more time to get their hits off. If they come at us, they're coming at us with weaker hits. So really, solid champion for waves. And this will be the same in any dungeon, any content. Wave control, he's going to give you a bit of added support and a bit of healing for your team. So I'm going to boost it onto the actual boss part of the fight, and you can see then when he really comes into his own for Dragon. So here we are then on the Dragon. Dragon, positive affinity. He's landing his poisons, getting them out nice and early. He's going to place his decrease attack He's done a places decrease crit rate. I'm not sure if you can do decrease crit rate on this dragon, actually. Did that go on? Is that something he's immune to? Not sure. Not sure about that, but anyway, the poison is going to help us tick down this purple bar nice and fast. You'll see a chunk of damage come off now. There it goes. All of that is because of poison abilities, and we're going to get ourselves back to the next part of the fight. He's healing all the time, so all of this poison damage we're taking, he's passively healing on his AE2. We get the decrease of crit. Oh, we can't get the decreased crit rate on because he's not dropping any turn meter, so that will never go on. Maybe that's why they built the skill like that, actually. But yeah, but the poison damage at this stage is top draw. So I think he's like up there, top tier dragon champion. He's not going to speed your run up crazy amounts like, you know, like a Draco or something crazy like that. But poison, controlling the waves, decrease attack, it's all great. Healing, he's really strong here. So that's two out of 2 dungeons that I would say they're probably his best. They're his main events. Spider and Fire Knight, I'm not going to show you them because really, unless you're struggling, you probably wouldn't use him in that team. But if you are struggling, then he can come in and do a bit of turn meter drop for you and a decreased attack again. So it's not terrible there, but he's certainly not strong there. There we go. 1.1 million. Actually, the highest damage dealer out of the whole run. Right, so next place we're going to show them off then is in Faction Wars. So Faction Wars, if you're struggling with the Lizardman, and I'd imagine a lot of you are, because Lizardman is tough. Until you get some of these fat legendaries, Lizardman is really hard. So he's going to come in here. Let's just roll some of these out of the way. So a few of you might have a Draco by now, hopefully. So let's throw a Draco in the mix. He's going to come in as our decrease attack champion, AoE. You might have yourself one of these fellas. And maybe, if you're lucky, I don't know, like a Jareg. So what have you got here then? You've got Speed Champion here. He can... no, he doesn't come in there. That doesn't help us. Anyone help us here? Yeah. So we've got Decrease Attack AoE. We've got Speed. We've got some Poison here. We've got a Reviver. We've got Decrease Defense and Weaken. So these are the sort of champions that are going to come in and just assist you through the waves. And the main thing you're going to find is that what he's going to do for us is just slim down the damage and hopefully slow down these annoying champions before they get going. Equally in Doom Tower, where you've got to take on the Lizardman faction war, not faction war. In Doom Tower, where you've got to take on the Secret Room, he's actually brilliant for it. So we can't do much about all of this shenanigans that they do forever. But all we're going to do is pick them off one by one. We've got enough healing in us to be able to just kind of ride the annoying storm that they bring. And probably one of the most annoying waves in the whole game that we're facing right now. I'm not going to make you watch this because you might want to tear your own eyeballs out. But we do eventually win this fight. I can promise you that. So I'm going to spin this on. But basically, I mean, what's he doing here in waves? He's dropping some turn meter. He's putting decreased attack out so we're not taking as much damage. And decreased crit rate out so we're not taking as much damage. For the boss fights, Poison is a great damage dealer against bosses because it's percentage of their health. And any sort of turn meter champion, any decreased attack champion, they're all going to help us get through the boss fights as well. So I feel like he's probably at least like top 2 epic Lizardman for me. I feel like he's got to be up there top 2. So do not sleep on this guy if you're struggling with Faction Wars. So you can see we've finished that off, 300k. He's actually done the second most damage. Lizardmen have got very few damage dealers if you don't have the legendaries. So even though he's kind of a weak hitter, his poison will spike his damage up compared to a lot of the other champions. So very, very good Faction War champ. In terms of someone like Doom Tower, kind of same as what you just seen there with Faction Wars, really. I think he can come into most of the teams for like utility champion. So most of the teams he can come into for the boss fights for utility. He doesn't bring any of the kind of necessary debuffs like He doesn't bring a burn here or a leech here. He doesn't bring a shield for your team. He doesn't bring a ton of turn meter control, albeit his little bit of turn meter control here might be useful. And for something like Magma Dragon, yeah, he's bringing some poison, but he doesn't bring a provoke. So he doesn't have any of the main skills for the bosses in Doom Tower, but he can help you with the waves. And, a lot of people struggle more in the waves than they do on the bosses. So let's try not to overpower it too much. I'll probably need a bit of power though, because we're up against a decent level here. So let's bring in somebody that can hit. So all he's going to be doing really in the waves is just, he's in there to drop attack, drop turn meter, drop crit rate, same old stuff. And he's going to do it pretty well. So again, he's just giving your damage dealers more time to get their work done. That's all he's there for. But he does a decent job of it. He's also got the accuracy aura for Doom Tower. So if you're struggling to get your hits off, the higher you get, you can throw him in as your lead. You'll get a bit more of a chance to land your debuffs. But yeah, very cool champ. I really like him. I think he's where they should aim for with epics in terms of strength. He's got multiple places in the game that he can play. He can even come into, I'm not going to show it here because it's kind of probably his weakest spot, but he can come into the arena and do that decreased turn meter as like your go second champion. So you go speed into him, drop their turn meter by 20%, give your damage dealers more chance to get their hits off. And if they do happen to get a hit off against you after that, then at least they've got decreased attack on them, so they're going to hit for a much weaker hit. But there you have it, guys. Aox the Rememberer. I think he is really strong, really great epic, great addition to the game. And for the average account, I think he's going to be in a lot of your teams. So there you have it, guys. I've been Hell Hades. Hope you enjoyed the guide. I will catch you later.